Welcome to Vintage Variety. Today I'm going to show you guys some pieces of jewelry that I've either repaired or recreated into something new using broken bits and pieces that I recently got out of a jewelry bag. I'll start off by showing you the pieces, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the finished results. I'll tell you how I achieved those results and any tools that I used. If you've ever purchased a jewelry jar, jewelry bag, or a large lot of jewelry, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say that you get a lot of pieces that simply aren't really worth anything. I always like to salvage those pieces either by putting them aside to use for parts and repairs, or by turning them into something completely new. The items you see in front of you, if they look familiar, that's because I showed them in last week's content. Last week I opened a small jewelry bag that I got at one of my local thrift stores. It had a lot of great pieces in it, and it also had a lot of pieces that weren't usable. If you guys missed that content, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below this video. So let's get started. Let me show you the pieces beforehand, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the end result. Memory wire bracelets aren't quite as popular as they were at one time. When you run across these though, they usually have some really beautiful beads and spacers on them, which is the case with this one. So I'm going to take these beads and I'm going to remove them from the bracelet and repurpose them into something of my very own design. As usual, there were a lot of single earrings in this jewelry bag. Some of them are actually quite beautiful. For example, this one is a Betsy Johnson earring and it looks like a small purse. What a waste, but I do think that I can take these single earrings and I can repurpose them into something else. Sometimes they can be turned into charms and other times they can be turned into necklace pendants. I really like this one of the dragonfly with the freshwater pearl attached to the bottom of it. Another item that was in this bag, and I'm not sure if this was an earring or not. You can see there's a piece on the back of it. I did test this. It turns out this is sterling silver, and in the center it does have a real pearl. Definitely don't want this to go to waste. This could be turned into a beautiful necklace pendant or perhaps even a charm that could be hung on a bracelet. This is a matched pair of earrings that came out of that jewelry bag. These are modern earrings. They're probably not all that expensive, but I do like the style of them. They're chandelier earrings and they're kind of done in that Victorian revival style. The problem with this pair of earrings is that one of the ear wires is completely broken off. Sometimes this type of earring will have an ear wire on it that's hooked on, so you can always replace it. But in the case of this pair, the ear wires are made onto the actual earring, and one of them's completely gone. I still think that these are worth saving, and I feel like there is a way that I can replace the ear wires on both earrings to make them wearable once again. Per usual, this jewelry bag had a jumbled up, tangled mess of single jewelry chains, and it had quite a few pendants without chains. Of course, I'm going to assume that some of these pendants came off the chains that were in the bag, and the others probably had lost or broken chains and they just got tossed in with everything else. I always say anytime you're out thrifting and you run across single chains at a reasonable price, they're well worth picking up because you never know when they're going to come in handy or you can repurpose them. The same applies to jewelry jars, bags, and lots. If you have the patience to pick the knots out of the chains and untangle them, set those to the side because you never know when they're going to come in handy. You may want to make a pendant for something, or you may run across a single pendant. So all of these pendants that came out of the bag are going to get new chains, so they'll be wearable once again. This small sterling and turquoise pendant was also in that bag. All this really needs is a light cleaning and a new chain, and it'll be wearable once again. There are a few smaller items that were in this jewelry bag that I'm not really going to do anything with today. These could very well have been necklace pendants, but they're small enough that they would make great charms. So I'm just going to set these aside into a small stash that I have until I've saved up enough of them to make my very own unique charm bracelet. Just a few more items I wanted to show you guys. I really love this. This is a round pendant and it's got rhinestones and a flower in it. I'm thinking I can take this pendant, the beads off of this memory wire bracelet, along with some of the loose glass beads that came in this bag, and I can turn this into a really beautiful necklace. Now let's have a look at how these pieces of jewelry turned out. I decided to take the beads from the memory wire bracelet, the loose beads, and that round pendant, and incorporate all of those pieces into something new and unique of my own design. I really love how this turned out. I like the round pendant because it has the flower and the rhinestones set into it. All of these beads are different types of glass beads. There are faceted glass beads, art glass beads, and faux glass pearls, all incorporated into this necklace, giving it a really unique look. I also used the spacer beads that were on that memory wire bracelet, and these are really pretty. They have tiny rhinestones set into them. The only additional items that I used to create this were the filigree bead caps, which I already had laying around, and some 20 gauge jewelry wire. I've done content in the past on how to make a necklace like this using jewelry wire to link the beads together. And if you guys are interested in a more thorough or detailed video on how to do that, you can find those videos on my channel. As for the tools that I used to create this, they were pretty simple, basic tools. I used some round nose jewelry pliers and a pair of wire cutters. I wanted to give you guys a quick look at this necklace on the necklace stand. You can let me know what you think in the comments, but I have to say, I think this turned out beautifully. I'm very proud of my design. I like the idea that I was able to take pieces that were broken, loose, or otherwise unwearable and incorporate them all together into something new, unique, and beautiful. For the chandelier earrings, I was able to remove the top part of the earring, add a jump ring and new ear wires to them, so now these earrings can be worn again. The only thing that I would do differently, and I may very well go back and change that, is I would have used smaller jump rings because I believe that the jump rings I used are just a little bit too big for these. I decided to turn all of the single earrings into unique necklace pendants. You guys will recall the Betsey Johnson earring. It was too beautiful not to salvage. That earring had the purse, it had a chain at the top of it that connected to the actual ear post. I decided to remove the earring part, take the purse part of the earring, use a jump ring, and attach it to a chain to make a beautiful necklace pendant. Now for a quick look at this necklace on the necklace stand. I really like the idea that I was able to take that gorgeous earring and salvage it by turning it into a necklace pendant. One thing that I really like about this is it can be worn on the purse side with the rhinestones, or it can be worn on the side where it says Betsey Johnson. I did the same thing with the heart earring. I removed the ear wire from the top of it. I did leave the beads, and I just added a jump ring and added this to a chain. I decided to add this to a gunmetal colored chain. I felt like the gunmetal color fit in with the kind of vintage look of the heart and the black glass beads. Here's a look at this one on the necklace stand, and once again, I'm very pleased with the way this turned out. It always makes me happy when I'm able to salvage a piece of jewelry rather than throwing it away. The gold tone leaf earring turned out to look a lot better as a necklace than it did as an earring, at least in my opinion. If you guys don't think so, you can let me know in the comments. But again, this was just really simple. I removed the ear wire, added a jump ring, and just put it on a gold tone chain. I really like the way this one looks. I think that this would look great worn alone, kind of as a statement necklace if you wanted something simple. but this would also look really good layered with some gold chains. This was that dragonfly earring with the fresh pearl. And when it came to this one, I had a hard time making up my mind as to which type of chain I wanted to use for it. This kind of has a very old, vintage, almost patinaed look to it. So I knew it was going to have to be a chain that would fit in with that. It just so happened that I had this very old, vintage, gold-filled chain. And when I spotted it, I knew it was going to be perfect. This chain has about the same color, and it also has that vintage patinaed look to it. I think that these two pieces were meant to be together. I'm going to show you how it looks on the necklace stand, and I've got to say, so far, I am very happy with the results as to how all of these pieces turned out. This was that scrap piece of jewelry that I said was sterling with a real pearl in the center. And I'm not really sure what this was. Earring where the other part of it broke off, or maybe it was a pendant. I can tell that it's very old and vintage. So what I was able to do with this is I took my round nose pliers and I very carefully bent that wire down to form a loop that I was able to close up. Then I decided to use a very fine chain, and the reason I did that is because I didn't want to add a jump ring to this. If I would have added a jump ring, it simply would not have hung right on the necklace chain. Another thing I did with this piece was I went ahead and took an anti-tarnish or tarnish cleaning jewelry cloth, and I gave it a really good rub down. I didn't want to do a thorough cleaning on this because I liked the look of the patina that was left in the lines of the leaves on this necklace, or the veins. I feel like it really gives it a unique and three-dimensional look. Out of all the pieces that I've shown you guys so far, I feel like this is one that I may very well keep and wear myself because I really love the looks of it. Before I end today's content, I did want to show you guys all of those pendants that came in that jewelry bag. I decided to add chains to all of them, and I'm going to give you guys a quick look at them on the necklace stand, starting with this one. This is just costume. It's a silver tone pendant. It's very small, but it does have a real stone in the center, and I think it looks great now that I've added it to a chain. This heart pendant had a stamping on the back of it. On the back, it was stamped STER and brass. I assumed that it was partially sterling, but you always need to make sure with things like this. So what I did was I went ahead and did an acid test on it, and sure enough, the center part of the heart is 925 sterling, and the rest of it's brass. And I thought, wow, that's really unique. I've never ran across a piece that was put together with that combination. And I'm sure those pieces are out there. But regardless, I felt like it definitely deserved a chain, and I decided to go with a gold tone chain for this one. There were a lot of pieces of Brighton jewelry in that jewelry bag, so when I ran across this pendant, my first thought was maybe it's Brighton. It really does have that overall look and design to it like Brighton jewelry has. I don't think it's Brighton, but I will tell you guys, it turns out that this is silver plated. I put this one on a silver tone chain, and I feel like anyone that loves the look or design of Brighton jewelry would really love to wear this necklace. This shell pendant necklace, this is a more modern costume piece, and I decided to add this to the silver tone Monet chain. I found this Monet chain not too long ago, and I thought, you know what, I think this is a really great combination. I know that shell jewelry is really in style this year, so I'm sure that someone would love to wear this necklace. Whether or not I'm going to leave it on this chain or I'm going to replace it with a different chain, I'm not sure yet, but I do think this is a really good combination. This is the small sterling and turquoise pendant. I just so happened to have a sterling silver chain that I could put this on. I did give the pendant a really good rub down. It cleaned up rather nicely, and now this piece is ready to wear again. I'm very pleased with the way all of these pieces turned out, and it really didn't take me that long. Most of these I did while I was sitting down and watching television. I also like the idea of taking pieces that are damaged or broken that would otherwise be discarded and either repairing them or turning them into something new and unique that can be worn. I really enjoyed sharing these projects with you guys today, and I hope I gave you some great ideas of how you can repurpose and create items of your own. If you enjoyed today's content, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Ring the bell for notifications, and you'll be notified anytime I upload new content. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to share these projects with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.